He was implying that she looked like that canary. The man said that she was quick-witted. She was lucky that Mrs. Cyrillys noticed her, and because of this she turned into a bird imprisoned in a rich cage. The girl screamed that this was not true. The lady sees her as a daughter. The man asked, "Really? Was she treated differently at the banquet with her pet dog?" The girl replied that those ladies were just evil. The Marquis said that in the end their relationship with her unwittingly revealed the whole truth. "He means that he is in a pitiful and ridiculous position." Dith lowered her head. She remembered all the pleasant moments associated with Mrs. Cyrillys. The girl thought about the very cage in which she is now. Perhaps the Marquis of Hexion was right in his guesses, and she is just an imperial canary. The man said that perhaps Mrs. Cyrillys raised her out of simple curiosity, pity, or just generosity. It does not matter. What's more important is that the girl is treated like her pet. Therefore, if she wants to escape from this terrible reality, she must listen to his advice. At the same time, Duke Cayenne came to his and Atisha's room and took off his jacket. The man looked at the sleeping Atisha and even felt a little moved. He took off his t-shirt and sat down next to Atisha. Cayenne looked at her sleeping face and thought, Atisha was able to gain the power to crush those who hurt her. The Duke took her dress and lifted it a little so that he could see her legs. He asked her why she didn't take revenge on the Hines family. All the Duke's sufferings were born from deep darkness. A happy childhood disappeared without him even noticing. Cayenne of Wintel had to come to terms with sudden misfortune. He wanted to escape from this terrible reality. He didn't want to be a part of it. Must live, and for everything to work out, he must break ties with the past. The people who brought him suffering, he must take revenge, cut off their heads. Burn their bodies, trample their ashes. He must take merciless revenge. Atisha is a girl who, like him, wants to cut off all ties with the past. But unlike him, she doesn't need revenge. The Duke was tormented by the question why. Isn't she furious? Is this fair? Doesn't she want to kill them all? Atisha felt the Duke's touch and opened her eyes. The girl did not understand what was happening. Cayenne let go of her dress and did not say that everything was fine and let her go back to bed. He thought that nothing had changed. We need to have a wedding in a month, because everything will go as planned before. In the morning, Mrs. Cyrillys and Miss Atisha had a tea party. The woman asked if her dress was torn. Atisha replied that yes, it looks like she tore it in her sleep. Mother replied that she should not worry, she would buy something else. The girl did not know when she managed to tear it. She dreamed of the Duke as usual. Mrs. Cyrillys added that by the way it was she who handed the letter to the girl. Atisha asked what it was, and Cyrillys replied that it was an invitation to a tea party from the Marquis of Hexion. He invited her, Atisha, and Dith. At yesterday's banquet, the Marquis of Hexion spoke with the ladies Manhwa and Dith. Despite this, the Marquis of Hexion is involved in various scandalous rumors. Therefore, she worries that Dith will not get into trouble. Atisha thought that the lady really cares about her adopted daughter. She thought about how cool it would be if she had such caring parents. They would share nice things with her and worry about her if something happened. The girl was jealous. Suddenly she heard her mother-in-law's voice in her dreams. She asked what it was, and the lady said that she would accept the invitation anyway. The woman asked what about her, will she go with them? The girl thought about it. She said it was an honor, but she was not yet used to banquets held in the north. Many rumors make her worry. Atisha smiled and said that next time she will come with them. The woman was very embarrassed by her smile and asked not to smile at her like that. After tea, Atisha looked around her new home with 2 servants. She thought that, to be honest, the lady was also charming. The girl went into the library and was delighted with how huge it was. Atisha L. saw a door at the end of the hall and became interested in where it led. One of the maids said that this was the Duke's office and that he should be there now. Suddenly, these doors opened and the assistant to the Duke of Val-de-Prame came out. The man greeted Miss Atisha. He told her to come in and that the Duke was waiting for her. The girl asked again. He asked if she didn't come here because of the gift. Atisha was not embarrassed when she heard that the Duke had prepared a gift for her. When she entered the office, she saw a lot of magnificent jewelry. The girl forced me when I saw one set of them. Cayenne asked if she liked it. Atisha replied that she did not need all this expensive jewelry. Cayenne said it was as an apology and added not to be burdened. The girl asked what kind of apology we were talking about. He has nothing to apologize for. The Duke replied that the dress was torn. Atisha blushed and said it was her fault. But suddenly the man says that he broke it. The girl froze, not believing what she heard. She looked at him in surprise, and Cayenne replied that last night he tore her dress. The Baroness was so shocked by what she heard that she did not notice that she had missed the necklace. Miss Atisha turned red and covered her mouth with her hands in shame. The maids who heard this and Valdeprame's assistant were in a stupor. They imagined Duke Cayenne tearing Miss Atisha's dress in a fit of passion. The girl still could not believe that her dress was torn by the Duke. The man himself, unlike the others, showed no emotion. Atisha recalled what happened at night. She lay on the Duke's hand and he touched her with his other hand. A moment later, the girl was already lying in the arms of the Duke. She thought she dreamed it. Cayenne once again asked for forgiveness and said that it was his fault he miscalculated the force. Atisha replied that everything is fine and this can happen to anyone. The man said that he invited the designer. I couldn't help but keep my word. He wants to make amends with these gifts. The Duke asked to receive them. Atisha said to control herself because people are looking at her now. They might become suspicious if she continues to pull away from him. Duke Cayenne shows everyone their close relationship. The girl didn't know if it was true about the torn dress. Atisha took the first jewelry box she liked and opened it. The girl was very surprised because the heart of an angel lay inside her. A wonderful necklace, a decoration that was found only in fairy tales that she read as a child. One day, a half-pink diamond came from heaven. After this news, the crown prince made 7 ornaments out of it. He gave each of them to his bride throughout the week. She burst into tears of happiness after receiving such gifts filled with the love of the crown prince. Then they got married, and they lived happily ever after. Atisha could not believe that such an extraordinary jewel was now in her hands. The Duke said that she seemed to know what it was. This necklace is made from an angel's heart, the very first of 7. The girl said that this necklace was too expensive for her. The man asked what she was talking about. This is bullshit, it's just a rock anyway. Atisha thought that this was a very expensive stone. The Duke chose it because he thought it would suit Atisha. The man took out a necklace and asked Lady Atisha to hold her hair. The girl put her hair away, and the Duke put such beauty on her and buttoned it up. Cayenne looked and said that as expected it suits her very well. In her thoughts, Atisha was happy because she had a new trinket from the Duke on her neck and a necklace from the Emperor under her dress. The man asked if she wanted to look at other gifts. The girl replied that it was not worth it. The Duke still has so much to do, she doesn't dare detain him any longer. Atisha touched her new jewelry and said that she would take care of it. Cayenne replied that it was good and added that he would send the rest to her dressing room. The girl thanked him and wished him a good day. She left the office. The maids could not believe that the Duke gave Miss Atisha the heart of an angel. He even smiled a little. And last night he tore her dress. Is this the same Duke they knew before? Baroness Atisha L. suddenly became the fiancée of Duke Wintel, and the most interesting topic of conversation in society. The maids discussed among themselves that the Duke tore her dress and said how ardent he was. Rumors spread quickly, and about the fact that the Duke gave her the heart of an angel, and about the fact that Lady Cyrillise invited her to a tea party. 1 day left until tea party. Other people wait years for an invitation to Lady Cyrillise's tea party. One of the maids asked why everyone was so surprised. She lied that she knew that Lady Atisha was a famous person in the capital land estate gifts from the Emperor. She asked if they now understand that Atisha L. is different from others. This is how the importance of Atisha became more and more every day, of course without her knowledge. In the evening in the Star Tower, Judith learned about these rumors. The girl bit her nails and thought, did Cayenne really tear her dress? She considered it impossible. This simply cannot be. Dith was furious. She pulled out a chair and sat down on it. The girl began to write a letter to the Marquis of Hexeon, who promised to help her. A couple of days later, Hexeon thanked them for accepting his invitation, as he knows they are all very busy. He told the girls that he hoped they had a great time and had fun. Mrs. Monmad calmly drank tea and looked at Judith. She couldn't understand what Marquis Hexeon was thinking when he invited a commoner here. If it weren't for Lady Cyrillise, she would have thrown her out of here long ago. The man watched Judith's behavior in society and came to the conclusion that she was different from others. The conversation took place a couple of days ago. Then the Marquis of Hexeon told the girl, "A month, she only has 1 month." Miss Judith didn't understand and asked what he meant. The Marquis smiled in response. He asked if he understood correctly that their wedding would take place in a month. In the eyes of the aristocrats, Dith is now the daughter of a duchess and the mistress of a duke. But what will happen if the official owner of the Wintel family appears? Everyone will forget about her. If those two get married, it will be the end for her. The girl clenched her fist tightly and asked what she needed to do. Hexeon replied that she had a month, During this month, she needs to strengthen her position. Judith must not allow any of the Wintles or aristocrats to treat her inappropriately. The Marquis added that for this, she needs allies, and that's all for today. Finally, Hexion advised her to start with Countess Manhwa. It was at the tea party that Judith decided to act. She got up from the table and wanted to say something to Mrs. Cyrillys, but unexpectedly, the girl, as if by accident, threw over a cup of hot tea. All this tea, of course, doused Countess Manhwa. The woman was furious. Hot tea flowed down the fabrics of the expensive outfit. Judith began to ask for forgiveness and say that it was an accident. The Countess asked how this could be an accident. Everyone saw that it was on purpose. The woman came closer and said that even if it was a mistake, she had doused the Countess and should be punished. The girl once again asked for forgiveness and said that she really didn't mean to. She took a napkin and asked to let her help wipe, but Manhwa hit her on the hand and told her not to touch it. Who is she to touch her with your dirty hands? The other invited ladies did not want to interfere in their quarrel. Suddenly, Mrs. Cyrillys told the Countess that she was too rude. The woman wiped her mouth with a napkin and said that she had not brought a dirty child with her. There was silence in the hall, but then Manhwa screamed that Judith had deliberately spilled tea on her. It's obvious that she held a grudge against her after the banquet. Cyrillys began to remember. The woman said that at the banquet one arrogant lady slapped Dith in the face, her adopted daughter. But the banquet she held where Judith was first introduced to society, Cyrillys said that this was interesting and asked Madame Manhwa if she happened to know this reckless lady. Manhwa bit her lip. She said that she did not know what happened at the banquet, but let the Duchess let go of her anger, and the troubles of that day would settle down by themselves. Mrs. Cyrillys said that this is great advice and she thinks so too. The woman stood up and said that of course the noble Madame Manhwa was so well versed in decency and laws, and she will be lenient towards the mistakes of her child who still knows little. Manhwa replied that of course. Later she walked along the corridor and thought that this toadstool had enlisted the support of Madame Cyrillys. The Marquis of Hexion approached her and said that this dress suited her very well. He apologizes to her on his behalf for today's incident. After all, the law of nobility says, do not neglect injustice, but he cannot oppose it due to certain circumstances. He has no reason to meet with the Countess. The girl blushed and said that he shouldn't apologize for that. She hopes he will be more considerate in the future. She doesn't want to see commoners here. Hexion said this was unexpected. He thought that she would need this child more than anyone else. Countess Manhwa asked what he meant. The man replied that with the wedding of Duke Kayan, a new duchess would appear in the world. Madame Cyrillys will soon leave high society, but Baroness Atisha L., whose name used to be Atisha Heinz. The woman interrupted and said that she had heard about her and that it seemed that Atisha L. was quite a shameless girl. Hexion asked if she would be worthy to become the top of secular society. Manhwa asked if this meant that she should sit on this throne. The man replied that he thought she was more worthy of it. If not she, then who can become Madame Cyrillys' successor? He then asked her to use Judith, whom she considers a commoner. Judith is a means that can shake the greatness of Duke Wintle, who stands as strong as a mountain. Hexion said she just had to take advantage of this opportunity. At night at the castle, Atisha L. decided to walk around it in her nightie. She walked and thought whether Kayan would sleep with her today like yesterday. The girl was wondering why he tore her dress. If you remember the past, he is sometimes very harsh. She wondered if he really had such preferences, and then dismissed the thought. She asked the Duke for forgiveness for such vulgar thoughts. Suddenly, Atisha looked at the wall. The girl realized that these were all portraits of Wintles. She began to look at them. Atisha reached the very end and finally saw the portrait of Duke Kayan. The girl said he was cute and saw that his birth date was there. 1 year of Barris 5 of the gods, 7th star. Atisha was horrified that it was tomorrow. Suddenly behind her, she heard the Duke's voice. He asked her what she was doing here. The girl didn't know what to do. She can't say that she doesn't know about his birthday. Atisha L. said that she was just walking around and looking at the portraits and got a little lost. The Baroness looked at the wall and noticed something strange. One of the portraits was missing. The girl began to think why it was empty, as if someone had been removed. When she looks at them shoulder to shoulder, it becomes uncomfortable. Duke Kayan asked where her maids were. The girl hesitated. She said she was only going out for a minute, so she didn't take them with her. The man said that she was very pale and asked her to go back to the room and rest. He would call the doctor. The girl replied that she did not need a doctor. Kayan asked if something was bothering her. She blushed and said that to be honest, she wanted to apologize. She didn't know that tomorrow was his birthday and would probably be holding a reception. The Duke replied that they were not holding celebrations for his birthday. Atisha was very surprised by this. The man said that since childhood he was not used to celebrating it, and this year everything will be the same. The girl asked why this is a special day of the year. The Duke thought for a moment. He replied that it was because he did not want to waste his time on such complex things. Atisha didn't understand a little about these complicated things. Larian went out of her way every year to host a lavish celebration, not like the Duke. She asked if it would be possible that everything would be fine if it turned out to be not so difficult. The man did not understand what she meant. The girl replied that now she knows that tomorrow is his birthday, and she does not want this day to be ordinary. She received a lot of help from him, and he gave her so many things. Therefore, she wants to pay him with the slightest help and help with the organization. The girl added that she was not talking about the ball. She just hopes the Duke will spend some time with her. He came closer and asked if his birthday was so important to her. Atisha replied that of course because next year she will not be with him. The girl thought that this was really so burdensome for him. She doesn't have much time left. Therefore only now can she celebrate his birthday. The guy replied that he agreed. She asked to spend time with him. Atisha L. was very happy and thanked the Duke sincerely. The next day Atisha was riding in a carriage through the city. She looked at the streets from the window. The girl said that the houses look very neat even from afar, and the roads are in good condition. Headmaid Korda told her that it was because Duke Kayan ordered regular maintenance and inspection every year. Subsidies are provided to the elderly, or in case of disasters. During heavy snowfalls, the snow is removed in a timely manner before it melts and turns into ice. Atisha thought that the climate in the north is harsher, and the Duke copes well. As expected, he is wonderful. The maid asked Atisha why she decided to take a walk. The girl became embarrassed and said that she needed to buy something. The maids wondered what she was talking about. Atisha didn't know what gift the Duke would like. The girl is a little confused because it seems like he already has everything. Suddenly the carriage stopped abruptly. The Baroness asked what was going on. The main maid, Korda, said that she would come out and see what happened. On the street, the guards shouted to the stranger, how dare he block the path of Wintel's carriage. Hexion thought that others might think he was a murderer. The man suddenly said that he just wanted to say hello. Atisha began to remember this man. She shouted to the guards to stop and she got out of her carriage. Atisha asked Korda if this was true, but immediately received the answer that she was right. This is the Marquis of Hexion. Atisha did not understand what to do with the Marquis on the street without an escort. The girl approached him and bowed, saying that she was glad to meet him. She introduced herself, and in response she heard that he knew who she was. The man said that only 3 people were allowed to ride on the carriage with the Wintel's family crest. Duke Cayenne Madame Cyriles and Baroness Atisha L. Hexion showed her 3 fingers. He added that if the probability is 1 in 3, then it is worth throwing yourself under it. Atisha asked what he meant. The man replied that he was just bored. He came closer to her, leaned over, and asked if she didn't remember him. Atisha didn't understand what was wrong with this man. He wasn't even sure that it would be her in the carriage. But he still blocked the road. If he had not been careful, he could have been trampled by a horse. The girl did not understand what his words meant. Is he talking about the tea ceremony? Atisha asked if he was talking about the last tea ceremony. She apologized for not accepting his invitation that day. She is not yet familiar with the north. The man stood gloomy, and the girl thought that something was wrong with the atmosphere. Did she really say something wrong? Hexion couldn't find the right words, but at the end he said that it was sad that she didn't remember him. Atisha was surprised and asked if he could be confusing her with someone else. The man put his hood back on and said he thought he had made a mistake. The girl thought that the tone of his voice had strangely become much sharper. He's probably angry Heinz apologized for suddenly jumping in front of her carriage. He added that someone was waiting for him so he should go already. He once again asked for forgiveness and left. Korda asked Lady Atisha if she knew Marquis Hexion. The girl replied that no, this was her first meeting with him. The main maid said it was strange Atisha didn't understand. Did she really know Marquis Hexion before? But if she met someone who was so outstanding, she would hardly forget about it. At the same time, someone sent Judith a box with a very beautiful dress. The girl tried it on and it looked gorgeous on her. She couldn't believe it was for her. Miss noticed a note on this box. The girl hoped that this gift did not come to her by mistake. She read the note, and this gift turned out to be from Mrs. Monmad. No matter how many times she read it, she still couldn't believe it. At the last tea ceremony, she said that she wanted to be friends with her. Dith has never received gifts like this. Does this mean that Madame Monmad treats her like the Duke's lady? The girl squeezed her dress and thought that she was very happy. The lady always gives her flowing and simple dresses. But when she wears this dress, she looks like the main character of a fashion party. She wondered what Kayan would say when he saw her in this outfit. Will he look at her differently if he sees her so beautiful? She must go and see Duke Kayan as quickly as possible. The table had already been set in honor of the Duke's birthday. Etisha was already sitting and waiting for him. She wondered whether the Duke would like her gift. If you like it, she will be very happy. Kayan of Wintel came to the hall. The girl began to get up, but the Duke asked not to do this. She greeted him. The man said that he heard that someone came to her. He asked if she had any problems. The girl replied that it didn't matter. It's just a small incident. Etisha took out her gift and asked the Duke to accept it. Kayan didn't understand what it was. She said it was her gift to him. Since it is a plant, he can continue to grow it. She chose him because the Duke would be able to admire him for a long time. Duke Kayan didn't even know how to react to this. He touched the blue ball in the middle of the flower. Suddenly, a small copy of Etisha appeared from him and wished him a happy birthday. She hoped that this year would also be happy for him and thanked him for everything. Kayan was very surprised by this gift. He thought that Etisha still wanted to celebrate his birthday. Even after she dies, Etisha will die in 1 year. She will no longer be there. 1 year later, she will no longer be able to be here. She will get sick and die. Duke Kayan did not understand why his heart sank from this realization. The girl said that she was wondering if he liked her gift. Suddenly, Etisha L felt a piercing pain. She fell to her knees in front of the Duke. Kayan didn't understand for a second what was happening. He rushed towards her, grabbing her, but she fell straight into his lap. Kayan screamed at her to stay conscious with him. Her gift, which she spent so long choosing and choosing, was broken. Kayan of Wintel constantly asked Etisha if she was okay, but all he heard in response was a grunt. The man thought that this was all bad and decided to quickly call a doctor.
Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.